Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Your Own Point Weather Report, live and direct streaming on multiple platforms. So simulcasting on multiple platforms right now. New Freedom Exchange, Facebook, and YouTube, and also New Freedom Network, Facebook and YouTube page as well, and the Muslim Journal News YouTube page. So those are some channels you all should subscribe to as well to get the latest updates on your weather report. This morning rather. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world/country. If you're up late tonight, perhaps still preparing for work or enjoying the summer, maybe you're off from work, whatever the case may be. If you do see the stream, please like and share. And also, if you have any questions, you can always feel free to drop them in the comment section rather, and we'll try to get to your questions this evening. If not this evening, if you have questions on the replay, we can always get to them on the replay as well. So just wanted to come live real briefly tonight to discuss the latest forecast for Tropical Storm Beryl, which is preparing to make its landfall in Texas. We have already seen impacts from Beryl all throughout yesterday in Texas, with already street flooding already being prevalent in the city of Houston already. We already see winds picking up, and that will continue tonight. Continue overnight today into today, when we'll eventually see a landfall of Beryl making landfall as a Category 1 hurricane, and is strengthening to a Category 1 hurricane, winds of 75 miles per hour. And it has already done that with the latest report that's out by the National Hurricane Center, which we'll go over, which came out at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go over that tonight and some brief updates. Yesterday, we talked about some of the impacts that Beryl will have on Texas communities. Those impacts haven't changed. So let's get to it tonight. Real quickly, we'll pull up latest, and I'll make myself a little bit smaller so you could see it. Screen here, and we'll bring up the latest guidance as it relates to Tropical Storm Beryl. So we'll always start off with some of the key messages. Some of the key messages from the National Hurricane Center. I don't know if we can refresh our pages. Some of the key messages as of 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, dangerous, life-threatening storm surge inundation along the coast of Texas from Mesquite Bay to Sabine Pass, including Matagorda Bay and Galveston Bay. Residents of those areas should follow any guidance or advice given by local officials and follow evacuation orders. Beryl's forecast to bring damaging hurricane-force winds to portions of Texas coast early Monday. Hurricane warning is in effect from Mesquite Bay to St. Louis Pass. Considerable flash and urban flooding is expected tonight throughout Monday night across portions of the middle and upper Texas Gulf Coast and eastern Texas. Minor to isolated major river flooding is also expected. Rip currents will cause life-threatening beach conditions throughout Monday across much of the Gulf Coast. So beachgoers, please heed the red flag warnings and advice of lifeguards and local officials before venturing into the water. So please, if there's a red flag out on the beach, please do not get in the water. That's rule number one, because the rip currents coming in, the rip currents coming in from wind is causing a lot of us to potentially have some rough surf. When you have rough surf, no matter how equipped you are as a swimmer or how good you are as a swimmer, it is still dangerous and is a major risk of potentially being dragged down to one of those tides and potentially losing your life. So please do heed the red flag warnings that are up for the beaches. So let's look at where we are with Beryl right now. Again, this is the track right here. Beryl, as of 10 p.m. Sunday, is now a system that has sustained uh, winds here that's already hurricane force at 75 miles per hour, making landfall again sometime overnight tonight into tomorrow. We'll have landfall, and eventually that's the remnants of Beryl will get up into Texas as a tropical storm, and then up to Arkansas as a tropical depression. Little Rock, get ready Tuesday. Rain impacts all the way up the Mississippi, already up into the Midwest, and gets caught up. Becomes extra tropical in nature, but we're dealing with whatever's remnants left of Beryl into the week. But right now, we're strong tropical storm winds of 70 miles per hour. So we'll become a hurricane overnight tonight, without a doubt. Category 1 hurricane minimum, and make its third landfall. Because remember, it made landfall on the Windward Islands. It scooted south of Jamaica, and then it made landfall on the Yucatan Peninsula, and also the Texas coast. Excuse me, 1 second. So we have Beryl making landfall overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Into Monday. So impacts likely. Talked about storm surge, peak storm surge. We're talking 4 to 7 feet of a flooding inundation, of storm surge inundation from Matagorda Bay up to about St. Louis Pass, Galveston Bay into Sabine Pass, at least locally 4 to 6 feet, 3 to 5 on High Island to Sabine Pass, and then lower as we get to Corpus Christi and also into the extreme western portion of the state of Louisiana. But the threat of storm surge is great here, greatest risk that we'll see flooding, and we see these areas will be directly impacted by flooding due to storm surge. Flash flooding potential, again, Houston, you're under the radar as the biggest city right now that will have to deal with flash flooding from Beryl overnight tonight into tomorrow, and then getting up into portions of like cities and towns that are like east of Dallas-Fort Worth and east of Waco, and eventually the flood threat will get up until again Arkansas as we get into Tuesday, and then we'll explore that a little later or tomorrow or next time we go live a little bit more about the threats in terms of that into next week. Rainfall amounts heavy, along that Gulf Coast. Along the Texas coastline. Locally 4 to 6 inches of rain. Not out of the question for these areas. Again, this will cause that flooding that we talked about. That's already occurring in some of the urban areas of Houston already, with urban flooding through the streets. We also talked about peak wind speeds. We also talked about that being a threat, and that will be a threat against Houston, Galveston, etc. That we'll see tropical storm force winds up to hurricane force winds throughout tonight, going into tomorrow, and this will also bring power outages that will be likely for this area. Power outages will be likely for this area of Texas, so you will lose power. So some people will lose power going into tomorrow night. Going into tomorrow night or today, course of today into tonight. So prepare yourselves for that. Those impacts as well. At this point, all of your preparations should be completed, and you should be ready for these impacts from Beryl. Other than that, Beryl is again strengthening. Excuse me, strengthening into a minimal hurricane and will reach landfall by tonight. Going into this morning rather, will reach landfall in Houston, so the impacts will be felt there, um, in around Houston and continue with impact. So definitely prepare yourselves for it. We're in the long haul for this storm system, and hopefully there will be no lives cost or lives taken and minimum damage from the storm system. But we'll wait and see what happens in terms of Beryl and its impact to Texas. But clearly, flooding will be an issue, and loss of power will be an issue as well. All right, so that's the update for tonight, or this morning rather. We'll come back and give some more updates as time goes on, but just wanted to come live tonight to give the latest on Beryl and the impacts that we'll have on Texas, as it will be the first landfalling name storm of the season here in the lower 48, and it has broken a lot of historical, uh, made a lot of historical records up until this point. So from here, we will be monitoring the rest of the Atlantic Ocean. Right now, Beryl is the topic of conversation, but as we get into hurricane season, deeper into the season, August, September, it's the peak season time, and we monitor the development that comes in the Atlantic Ocean that have potential impacts for the states. But right now, Beryl is the main threat. So hopefully all the preparations have been prepared and everyone is hunkered down. And if you're living by the coast, hopefully you have evacuated from the coast into a safer place, and more inland or further away from the coast. All right, so we'll be back for more information on Beryl as time goes by. Thank you for tuning in tonight briefly with this discussion. Again, as always, like and subscribe for New Freedom Exchange on Facebook and YouTube, New Freedom Network as well, and Muslim Journal News for the latest information. Thank you. Peace and blessings. Have a great Monday, and we'll see you soon.